That's right. Start record. You can never tell with StreamYard. Sometimes StreamYard is very difficult. There we go. All right. Says we're live. All right. So, hello there, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of what I can only hope will be a long and fun series. So, as you can tell from the title and thumbnail, I started a new podcast show called Talk Piece. Much to my surprise, apparently that name has never been taken before. So,
that is surprising.
I know, right? I looked on Twitter, I looked on YouTube, and I'm like, wait a sec. There's someone that has to have had Talk Piece before.
Yeah, as soon as you said Talk Piece, I actually Googled it myself, and there was nothing. That surprised me.
Well, I'm trademarking it if I can. I'm putting the YouTube trademark on that. But you know, like I am very happy I can call it that. And what this show is, it's just a chill talk show, nothing too serious. I just want to bring a new or recurring guest every other week to talk One Piece or really just anything on our minds, because as this year has shown us, there is a lot on our minds right now.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just a casual time between mates, and I guess I should introduce the other person that is joining us today, this random voice that joined in before I had a chance to introduce him. But yes, I ran into him a couple months ago, saw his videos, I loved them, and it's honestly been nothing but a fun-filled meme fest whenever we talk. So here for the very first episode of Talk Piece, Tyler DOE or Tyler Doe. How do you do, mate?
I am honored to be on the first episode of Talk Piece. This is really cool. And like you, I am surprised that this has not been taken before. But yeah, I'm just a YouTuber that hasn't uploaded in 3 weeks, so I feel like I'm not a YouTuber anymore. But there's a video on the way this week.
Is it My Hero Academia Part 2?
No, so essentially what happened is me and Sensei Incorporated, we were talking a lot about Yu Yu Hakusho just like randomly, and it made me realize like how much I actually love that show. And as we were talking about it, I was on my 2 weeks, well, ended up being 3 weeks, but 2 weeks off. And I was like, you know what? I think that might be my first video back. And he said, well, let me jump on it and we'll do it together. And I was like, okay, cool. So I jumped on with him, did it. And it turned out from like watching it now, I'm going to rewatch it again. So I've watched it twice now. And it seems to be, in my estimation, the best video I've ever done. I really love it. It's super entertaining. Awesome. Maybe not best video I've ever done because I really love the IRL videos, but that for not an IRL video, it's really good.
I think my favorite video from you is the one where you go into a Barnes and Noble with your girlfriend. And I knew it was a good one. Where as soon as I saw in the first few seconds, your girlfriend is reaching for your butt, and then she just slaps you in the back of the neck. And then she called every big boob in the bookstore, like, what was it, tumors?
Yeah. I love that video. That video is super fun. It's funny about that video. There's two funny things about that video. One, whenever we started filming that video was an entirely different video. So when we started, first of all, I was wearing a different shirt, which actually comes into play because I was wearing this shirt that I didn't know looked like shit on me. I thought that it looked good whenever I left. And then I looked at some of the footage. Like, we've been filming for like 45 minutes at this point. And I'm like, okay, I think we're about done. Maybe do a couple more wrap-up shots. Let me look and see what we've got. And I looked at my shirt and I was like, oh, I look disgusting. We can't do this.
Oh,
I was like, and I literally said, we're going to have to go back home. She goes, well, we're in a mall, dumb. Let's just go buy a $10 shirt. I'm like, oh, good point. So we walked to a JCPenney. And as we were walking, I don't remember which one of us brought it up, but one of us was like, I think it actually might've been her. But anyways, she said, you know what? I think that this video is just not going right because I think it was meant to be funny, because the entire video beforehand was literally me going like each step by step being like, oh, I really like this one. I haven't seen this. And it's very serious. It wasn't really funny at all. Like, there might've been 2 jokes in the entire thing. And so after we got the shirt, went back to Barnes and Noble, and I love the way it turned. I'm so happy that I wore that shirt now, because that video ended up being probably my favorite video on my entire channel. And it was all because I had to change a shirt at some point. But yeah, the other funny thing is we recently attempted to do a part 2 of that video, but the reason why I took a 2-week break off is because I was just hating making YouTube videos, and it was in the middle of that. And so I was literally like not wanting to do it. I was only doing it because I thought that it might do well. And I was just like, oh, I hate this. I don't want to do this at all. So the video just turned out so bad. So I have like literally an hour and a half or 2 hours worth of footage that I've sifted through again recently and been like, yeah, there's no way this is ever seeing the light of day. It's just such a crappy video. But yeah, that's one of my favorite videos as well.
Yes, it's funny you bring that up because I think everyone that, you know, watches this video and hears your words, I can relate, and anyone else can relate that YouTube is a very burn-in process.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter how small you start, no matter how large you get. In fact, I think it gets worse if you get like, you know, millions of people, because then you're expected, like, you need like a video with like top-notch editing, top-notch
quality.
humor. Yeah, like every day. For me, if you looked on my channel, I don't know why you would. It's gross and icky and all that. But it's like there's a very big gap between my videos. The live streams are consistent. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, you're a pretty consistent live streamer.
But unfortunately, with like edited works, there's so much going on in my life that is like, all right, I'm going to dedicate this day to this one video. And then I get a script done. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And then I just die at the computer screen like, fuck, this isn't good. Because I'm trying to meet like a certain standard.
Yeah.
It's just like, I just want to go for a 10-minute. For instance, I'm making a Katakuri video and I put it up in a poll. It's like, what do you guys want me to talk about? Talk about Katakuri. Sweet. All right. It should just take 10 minutes. And then when it came to an intro, just to write the script for the intro, it was okay. I think it's important that I talk about objectivity and subjectivity because Katakuri, it's like a mix of those two worlds. Yeah. So I got to play my words really carefully. The intro's 4 pages long.
Oh my god, yeah. I totally. You know what that was like that for me is actually this Yu Yu Hakusho video. I won't spoil too much, but at the beginning of it, I still go into this really in depth, but I talk about. I don't know if I coined this phrase or if maybe I heard it before. I don't know, but it's I called it character reliability, and it's how often the character maintains a handful of certain traits that I think are imperative to their character, right? So like, for example, if you were talking about, Luffy, you would say one of his reliability traits would be that he's always optimistic, even in the face of like horrible situations. But that's not to say that he's 100% always optimistic because he's still a human. So there are going to be times where he's not 100% optimistic. And I think that it's important to have both. But my original script for it, I had 3 pages of talking about character reliability before I got into the video. So I was able to shorten that down to be about 3 paragraphs, which was an undertaking. It was a great undertaking to get it down to that. But I think it's so much better whenever you're not getting stuck in the weeds. But that happens all the time in script writing. I mean, you can attest just as much as anybody else where you start writing a script and you just start going down the rabbit hole. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, this is 7 pages long of me talking about Nami's hair or something, like something very abstract. Lord.
It's to the point for the Katakuri video where I'm just going to be like, fuck it, let's just turn it into a movie. Because I have to go through everyone's takes. I like your take as well for Katakuri. So I'm going through all these takes, and then I have to be like, okay, that has a hint of subjectivity. This one has like, it's very personal, but there's objective things behind it.
I had never thought about that concept before until you just said it, that he is both very subjective and very objective, because he's objectively strong. He's objectively, the strongest one out of all of the what do they call them? Sweet commanders. He's the strongest sweet commander, and all of that. Like you could go through a lot of things that are objective about him, but where it becomes subjective is one, how people feel about him and his fight scene in the end of the day, and then 2, whether or not you think that he is a top tier villain, which it's almost objective, right? It's hard to say that. Oh no.
Sometimes when it comes to like tier lists, Watkins and I did this like a couple weeks ago. We ranked every single One Piece character. Well, most of them. Reason Asui from the Wano arc is not in this tier list for God knows why. I don't know. But they had the flying 6, so whatever. But basically what happened was that we did our best to mix objectivity and subjectivity, because when it came to Katakuri, subjectively, Watkins is like, he is an S tier character. But then you have me, And I was like, I like him, but there's still faults to the guy. So we compromised and put him on A tier. And what's funny about that is, do you remember Katakuri as like this stoic badass all the time up until the fight with Luffy?
I would say mostly, yeah. I think there's one or two moments in there where he acts a little silly, like about donuts and stuff, I believe. It's been a long time since I've read that arc, but if I'm not mistaken, there are a few moments where he does silly things, but for the most part, he's pretty stoic badass.
So about that, when I was, just taking notes through the whole story, or really just Katakuri's part of Whole Cake Island, I noticed that, wait a second, as soon as Sanji's shown, and as soon as Luffy bursts out, Katakuri loses his shit a few times. Yeah. He's like, God damn it, this is happening. God, Parasparrows, fucking kill the fish. Fucking do it. I gotta take care of this. Oh, fuck, I can't stop this. Oh, God, Mom's gonna scream. Ah!
I think that also says a lot for, like, he does have some semblance of humanity to him, right? Like, he's as badass and stoic and cool as he is, he's terrified of Big Mom to a degree.
Yeah, and it was like, oh... Yeah, and that basically made me go like, oh my lord, so he wasn't always the stoic badass, because you would not believe how many videos there are on YouTube. And Grand Line Review is the biggest guy, unfortunately, for this little jab.
The biggest defender.
Yeah, because he basically said in one video, it's like, Katakuri has always been the stoic badass until he's been challenged by Luffy or something like that. And then Watkins and I, when we watched it, we're like, oh no.
You're like, what about this, and this? Yeah. I feel that, but you can really do that with any character. I feel like if you're bold enough to take an opinion. So one thing that I always think about whenever I'm like doing videos like that, or even like talking with somebody about stuff like that, is I always think about how much harder it is to come up with a unique opinion versus how hard it is to disprove a unique opinion. So, for example, if I were to say at the beginning of the NFL season, if I said, "Hey, the Patriots are gonna make the Super Bowl," well, it's much easier for you to say, "No, they're not," because there's 32 teams, right? So there's 31 other reasons that you can give for why they're not going to give the Super Bowl, but there's only one reason that I can give for why they are going to win, and that's themselves. So I always kind of think about that, like, where I do think that I can see your point and see where Roger Base is wrong. I do think it's harder to come up with an original, like, oh yeah, I'm doing this, versus, disproving something.
Yeah. Grand Line, by the way.
Oh, Grand Line. Not right. Yeah. Got a mistake.
No worries. Yeah. But, it's that kind.
Have you seen the newest Reverie yet?
Here's the thing. So for that weekend, I spent time with some family. Just we don't really get to see each other that much that often. I was still able to like check my phone and shit. That was no problem. But meanwhile, the Reverie's happening, right. And in one of the One Piece group chats, one of my friends, Chief, is like, guys. He had the fucking director of the One Piece show is on the Reverie, and I'm like,
shit's crazy.
Shit.
So I was literally just I was on a call for about 30 minutes before I called you with this guy who was on the Reverie, and he was telling me about like meeting that guy, and he said it was one of the coolest experiences of his life. It was just crazy to hear.
Yeah, just I finally had the chance to. I didn't listen to the whole Reverie yet. I still haven't seen it. I listened to the writer talk about it, and he talks about like the guy you talked to probably said like the whole dinner with Oda. And I was like, oh my god, this guy actually sounds like a good like a cool fan. Yeah, and I can't rate because he actually sounds like a good director. Yes, it's not one of those Hollywood people.
Okay, so it's like funny. It's funny to hear your perspective on this, because the guy that I was talking to was like, this was one of those times where you start talking to somebody and you realize they're actually very passionate about what they're doing. Like, he's like, it wasn't like, sometimes you watch a director talk about, like, let's just say like a Marvel or a DC movie. You watch them talk about the comics and they're like, yeah, I've read 3 of them. So I'm pretty much ready to do this. He's like, no, this guy was literally telling us that he's seen our videos and was bringing up specific examples of videos that we've made. And like talking about oh yeah. On top of that, I also, I'm pretty well versed in the story. I think that this character has this motivation. They're like, yeah, pretty much. And like, it was just really interesting, apparently, for him to just be like, damn, like, He literally is like super passionate about this and excited about it, and it's not just. And also, he said that Oda's involved every step of the way. He said anytime they make a major decision, they have to contact Oda and talk to him about it.
Thank God. That was probably one of like the prerequisites, because Oda has the key to everything. I welcome that wholeheartedly.
How many times have we seen that go the wrong way? You know, like how many times have we had a Dragon Ball Evolution? You know, where it's like, no, do you think Toriyama was involved in that at all? No.
He drew the one guy, don't you know? And he had a couple story beats, and it's like, okay, cool. Now explain the end into Goku Black for me.
Yeah.
All right, now explain Jiren's character. He was Batman.
He was tough.
Dude, sometimes the sometimes like you see videos, and I'm bringing CBR into this shit.
Ooh,
yes, thank you. Watkins and I, by the way, we were very tempted to bring you into like our future CBR streams.
Well, I think you saw that Twitter post that I did where they literally fucking spoiled this huge ass thing for me. I was like, wow. It was a My Hero Academia thing, and they literally put in the title. I don't remember what it was, and I don't want to spoil anybody anyways, but I'm just going to make something up. They go, Bakugo dies in the newest chapter of My Hero Academia. Very shocking. And keep in mind, I'm not on their account. Like, I'm not on their website. I clicked a new tab on Google, and it popped up in the news thing. And I saw that, and it spoiled this big ass story beat that I haven't caught up to yet. And I was so disappointed. Now that's not going to hit me hard.
You cunt, CBR. You have
literally. It's like, dude, you have some sort of integrity towards your readers, and even the people that aren't your readers, like me. Like, I'm not fucking looking for this. I just clicked new tab on Google, and I saw it. You know, now it's spoiled for me.
Oh my lord! But yeah, like Walk-ins, Ultimarks, myself, and Bovine Designs. We formed like a regular crew, and there was one episode of Versus CBR that talked about Jiren and how he has this very complex backstory.
And you're like, excuse me, where?
So when they say like we have a very complex backstory, it's our own fan fiction. So you what was the most infamous one? Oh yeah, the whole like they had a theory. It's like, what if Jiren had enough power to go back in time and kill his parents, thus creating this endless loop? And like Jiren is so tragic because he knows he has to relive that pain every time, and we're just sitting there.
What the hell?
We're just sitting there like, okay, that breaks every every rule of time travel in the Dragon Ball world. Jiren is not strong enough to go back in time just on his own. It's holy mother. So
you're telling me that the equivalent of Whis on his universe is bringing him back in time that far, even though he can only go back 3 minutes? You know, like,
yeah, Jiren's stronger than that. Apparently,
there's literally no semblance of continuity in that at all.
Nope.
But then again, Dragon Ball Super is pretty not continuity based. So
yeah, it's so weird. It's like the better GT.
Yeah.
Because you have this contained story, and then you're like, huh, you know what? I can see that as a sequel, as a sequel. And then you look at the last episode of Dragon Ball Z, and you're just like, wait a second, how this clashes against quite a few things.
Yeah, it's funny on a podcast that I was previously doing, we were ranking all of the Dragon Ball shows and spinoffs and everything. And we genuinely had a hard time ranking GT or Super better. We ended up saying Super was better, but it was a close call. It wasn't like, oh, definitely Super. The reason why we ended up giving it to Super is because, one, it's canon. Two, at least it's like, in GT, there's a lot of times where they go down rabbit holes that are just so useless, and there's not as much of that. Keep in mind, there's a lot of filler, and also there's the 2 movie recaps at the beginning, which just drives me up a fucking wall.
Oh, it was awful.
But yeah, it was horrible. It's like, dude, you already made 2 movies that were an hour and 20 minutes long, and now you're like, they added virtually nothing to the story without except for these very, very minor differences.
But over the span of 18 back. They brought you back only to kill him off in one move. I'm like, why?
What was the point? What was the point of all of that? Like, if you were gonna bring Ginyu back, make it a serious plot point, right? Like, don't just make it like where it's like, oh yeah, whatever. But yeah, like I talk about that in my Should You Watch Dragon Ball Super video. I talk about how it's like, I forgot how much time, I think it was 32 or something like 32 weeks. So 32 episodes of recap. So you spent over half a year after getting us hype as fuck about Dragon Ball Super. You spend over half a year with filler and movie recap. Are you kidding me? Who thought that was acceptable? Who was like, oh yeah, this is good?
Don't you know, Tyler, that we absolutely had to see the TV version of Goku versus Frieza and how it fixed all the problems of the movies?
Okay. Well, it's not like okay, this is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't make the recaps. I'm saying make the recaps like, 4 episodes long. Like you don't need, because like you did all of that in an hour or in 120 minutes before. So, or no, it was less than that. I think it was an hour and a half. So they did all of the movies in an hour and a half on both of them. You're telling me you couldn't have spent like 8 episodes total making the same thing except just slightly better in different ways? No, they did that because they wanted to catch up and they wanted a cash grab. That's why they did it. If they didn't want a cash grab, they would have just waited. Like, I hope they don't do that with Broly. I don't know if they've said they are or not, but God, I hope they don't do that.
They better not. And that's like, like when it comes to, just off the top of my head, things like, oh, Super gave us the Broly movie. Right. That shit was fantastic. It was amazing.
And I don't need it to be ruined with a movie or with a show adaptation.
Exactly. And GT gave us Super Saiyan 4, which I will defend to my grave that it is 10,000 times better than Super Saiyan Blue ever hopes it could
be. Honestly, if I'm 100% honest with you, and I can link you to this video after this, but that was one of the biggest areas where like we were going back and forth. We were like, okay, Super Saiyan 4 is 100% cooler than Super Saiyan Blue. And we're like, yeah, for sure. So that's like, that was the hardest part of the entire argument, was like, that's how good Super Saiyan 4 was though. Like it, like, although there is some weird like moments where they're kind of hoeing Vegeta again, because they're like, oh yeah, he needs this machine to do it. He can't just go like Super Saiyan 4 by himself. But even with that, like just how cool it looks, how powerful it is, and whenever they do fuse, oh, so cool.
Yeah, so it was amazing.
Super Saiyan Blue is just literally like, oh, let's change his hair blue. All right, well, fuck, here we are.
The dub knew what it was doing, because I do believe there is a joke. It's either in the show or in the movie. But Frieza is like, what is this? Super Saiyan hair dye?
Yeah, that's where he's about. Oh, so I was having an argument back and forth with people on Twitter. Let me hear where you stand. And I'm mostly talking about obviously Dragon Ball Z because one of the characters is not in Super, but who do you like better, Cell or Frieza?
Fuck. I like Kid Buu more. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god, I had somebody say that seriously. I don't remember who it was, but I remember somebody said that seriously.
Oh man. Okay, Cell or Frieza. Off the top of my head, I kind of like Cell just a bit more, only because like, you saw his journey, his entire journey as a villain, whereas Frieza is just like, I'm evil. I'm basically space Hitler, You can't go wrong with that. And Toriyama and the writers of Super, they took full advantage of Frieza. I just kind of like Cell just a bit more. Excellent choice of figurines.
Yeah, I'm a Cell man myself, because Cell is just like, so the thing that I like about Frieza is that he is so despicable, right? Like, he's very despicable. You hate him. He's got all of these horrible things like racism and like all these horrible things that are going bad for him. But Cell had all of the good traits from every character in the show. He had some moments of superiority that he got from Frieza. He had moments of like, oh, I have so much Saiyan pride from Goku and Vegeta. And then he had like pretty much every good trait from everybody he had. And I just love that about him, because it makes this all-encompassing, really powerful character who is... He's got interesting motivations, whereas Frieza's just like, I'm here to take over the world. Like, that's the only thing that he wants to do, is like, I'm just here to take over the universe. That's all I want.
I like his journey. Well, not journey. I like how nowadays. Well, this is after the Broly movie. Like for all we know, he's just like, well, I guess I'll rule this part of the galaxy outside of the Saiyan's reach. I'm just gonna do my own thing.
Yeah, I
Maybe
will
next
say
time
that
I'll get the Dragon Balls.
I do think that they kind of did the best thing they could have done with him in Super. I like he became an integral part of the story, and I like the direction that they went. But I'm thinking if Cell were there and Cell got some sort of power up like that, I would have been much happier. I would have been like, oh, this is fucking
It,
badass. Like,
it could technically work because Cell never trained. All he needs to do is train for 6 months,
yeah,
and boom,
it's
golden
actually
Cell.
the exact same thing, except Cell started out base much stronger than Frieza, right? Like Cell started out at his perfect Cell. Actually, I think Cell's base form when he was still like not the larva, obviously, like the phase where he fights Piccolo in that village or in that
just
town.
first stage and perfect.
Yeah, I think that he's stronger than Frieza in that moment because Piccolo, like, it's low diff, but you could tell that like it was still a fight. Like it wasn't like Piccolo just like evaporated immediately. It was like, oh shit, like he's pretty fast, but he's just nowhere compared to me. But Piccolo at that point was like 10 times stronger than Frieza. You know, like he's like way fucking stronger than Frieza. Like Frieza does not stand a chance against him.
That always gets me. Just the fact that Dr. fucking Giro, some scientist on Earth, made androids and soon enough Cell that were just stronger than the Super Saiyans. Like, ooh.
Yeah, that's crazy because like it's interesting because it's like it's a good example of power creep that happens naturally and not like forcibly. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's like Yu Yu Hakusho. Again, I'm gonna bring Yu Yu Hakusho. I don't know if you know this. It's my favorite story. I fucking adore it.
I love it. I'm rewatching it right now. I'm I'm at where they start fighting Tagoro's team. I love this show, dude.
Wait, which one? Kurama or Hiei's fight? Or like it's the build-up episode?
Yeah, it's the build-up episode. So literally they're like walking in. It's the first time you see Kuwabara in the white outfit and he gets like the hilt or whatever and he's walking up. Yeah. It's badass. I love this show so much. It's literally like one of those shows where you can go back to it at any point in your life and be like, this is amazing.
I have a yearly tradition during the summer of just rewatching all of Yu Yu Hakusho because it never gets old.
I will say one thing is it's the ultimate comfort show as far as like it's still a really badass show and like there's a lot of really cool moments that'll get your adrenaline pumping, but you can still like I fall asleep to that show all the time. Like because it's just so comfortable to watch. Like the art style is not too harsh on your eyes, and then like all of the voice acting is actually really good for the dub, which is kind of rare for back then. So yeah, all around an amazing show.
Yeah, I know you're doing that thing with Sin. But dude, if you ever do a Yu Yu Hakusho video, need help, hit me up. I am ready to talk about that shit any day of the week.
You should make some videos yourself. That'd be cool.
I'm very tempted to because October is coming up. I'm working on a Disney Animal Kingdom review. Yeah, this is a little passion project of mine. Where I'm just reviewing a fucking theme park.
It's probably my favorite kingdom right now.
Yes,
because now they have what's it called, Pandora.
Yes, Pandora is absolutely amazing. I'm not even the biggest fan of the movie, but like the amount of effort they put into that area, along with the musicians, like the drummers there, holy fucking
My girlfriend and I literally took the journey out to Disney World almost exclusively just to see that because we were like, oh, this is gonna be cool. So we get there, and whenever we got in, we were like standing in line to get into the park as it opened, but they have the thing where you can get in an hour early, whatever. So we didn't have that. So we sprint. People are telling us to not run, and we're just like ignoring them. Like, fuck you, we're running. Like, so we keep running. I'm like, I'm an adult. What are you gonna fucking do? So we just keep running, and we like literally sprint there, and we have to wait an hour and a half in the line. When we got done with the Flight of Passage, we literally looked at each other and we're like, that was worth it.
Yes, Flight of Passage is an excellent ride. And to those of you that don't know what we're talking about, look it up. It's like a Star Fox emulator. Very appropriate shirt I'm wearing right now for that. But yeah, that's in the works. But I'm also trying to get like, you know what? It's October. My birthday's in October. Let's fucking hit some videos out. So I'm thinking of doing like a One Piece Stampede review. I'm thinking of maybe a Yu Yu Hakusho like video, something in October.
You should. You know what I think would be cool from your perspective, since you're such a big fan of Yu Yu Hakusho. I think it would be cool if you at least did like a mini series, or maybe even a full-on series, just going over each character as an individual, like starting out with Yusuke, then going to Hiei, then going to Kurama. Just like go down the line. I think that'd
Oh
be cool.
man, that would,
I would
dude.
watch
If
that
I
for
talk
sure.
about Yusuke, I might be stuck on an hour talking about Yusuke alone. Like he is like, he is my favorite main character. Luffy, Naruto, Ichigo. No,
He is the
Yusuke's
coolest. I say this in my video, and this is probably gonna be the last thing we talk about. But I say this in my video that I just did. The thing that I like about Yusuke is that one, he's the precursor to all of them. Two, he has this ability to. I feel like sometimes Luffy and Goku, everybody, when they get serious, it's like, yeah, it's believable that they're serious. But the thing that makes Yusuke different is that he's always, his default position is kind of serious, right? His default position is kind of grumpy. And so whenever you see him, he's basically a grumpy person who's very powerful, who has a really good moral compass. That's basically who he is. So I love that about him.
It's literally like, let's just take this, jackass and give him a hero's journey.
Yeah.
And it's a very believable hero's journey. Like he has all this demon potential locked up inside of him.
Yeah.
But when he gets pushed to shove, when he has to let go, like Gohan, for instance, but my God, it's fucking beautiful.
And I like the power scaling in Yu Yu Hakusho. But anyway, we could talk for a long time about that. But I do have to get out of here. It's been really cool talking to you, though.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming to the very first episode. A link to Tyler's channel is going to be in the description, so check it out. I'll be watching if you do. I don't know how, but I will.
All right, man.
Tyler, dude, thank you so much for coming on, mate.
No, thank you for having me on.